Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you all how to create layers using the layer properties manager. Um, Remember, the layers are basically used for organizing objects in a drawing by function or purpose. Um, it is also used to reduce visual complexity with the drawings to either improve display performance by hiding information that we do not need at a particular time. Alright? It can also be used when it's time to print. We want particular functions of the drawing or parts of the drawing to print only. We can use the layers to determine what we want printed or not. Okay, so first thing first, we're going to go to the Home tab, and then we're going to go to the Layer panel, and right to the left of the Layer panel, we're going to see this icon, and it's called Layer Properties. So we click on it, and immediately a window will open. If the window opens small, you can just come to the corner and use the arrows to extend the window to suit. Alright, so first thing first, you're going to notice that we have a layer already created here, and it's highlighted blue. Um, then we have various columns for this particular layer, and in each column there are some properties that we would be able to change, and we are going to change based on the particular layer. So we are going to more deal with the color, the line type, and the line weight. Right? So remember, the line weight is the basically the thickness of the line. The line type is self-explanatory. Um, this is the different types of lines that we have: center lines, hidden lines, continuous lines. Um, and then we would change the color so that when we are actually drawing, it will be easier for us to understand our drawing, especially when we doing some complex drawings. Right? So first thing first, we go to this little icon that we see here. It looks like 3 sheets of paper next to something that looks like a sun. Right? And obviously, when we hover the cursor over it, this little box would come up here and let us know that this is the new layer icon. So we can go ahead and click that. So usually I would work with about 5 to 8 layers. The amount of layers are optional. You use whatever works best for you. Right? So if you see that there might be another layer that you would like to add to your drawing system, you can go ahead and insert that. If you think that there's one that you may not use, you can leave that out. Right? If there's one that you would like to edit to suit you a bit, you could go ahead and do that as well. So my first layer is usually the border layer, and I usually give that a color of dark green. Click OK. So as we click on the word or the little icons here, we're going to get the option to change the properties. So I'm leaving this as continuous, and the line weight for this, I'll change this to 0.6 millimeters. Alright, and I go ahead and create another layer, and I'm going to label this one center lines. I'm going to go with a light green color, and the line type, we will have to load this one because it's not in the immediate library. So we'll load, and the line I would usually use for center lines is ISO 08W100. So we look for the ISO 08W100, which is this one here. I click on it and press OK, and then I click on it again and then I press OK. Right, and I usually use the line weight as default. Great. Move on to the other layer. I'll label this construction. So I'll use this layer to draw my construction lines. I usually use red for the construction lines and continuous line. So I click continuous, which is a solid line, and I click OK. And by default, for the line weight, my next layer would be dimension lines. I usually like to see my dimension lines in a dark blue. Click OK, and it will be continuous and line weight will be default. My other layer is going to be the hidden lines. And I'm going to leave this as white or the opposite color to my background. Now hidden lines will be loaded from the library, and I usually use ISO 02W100. ISO 02W100. I click on it and I press OK. It's actually the dashes that is closer, and as you see here we have this one that is further apart, and that is ISO 03W300 W100. So I'm using ISO 02W100. Alright, so I click on it, I press OK, and the line weight will be default. Next, I'm going to create object line layer. I'm going to leave that as white as default, and I want this to be continuous, but I want this line weight to be 0.3 millimeters, right, because I like a little thickness to my object lines. Next, I'm going to create the text layer, and I'll put the text in a purple, continuous, and I'm going to put this as default. And last but not least, I'm just going to create one called fighter block. I'll put this as a yellow, continuous, and I'm going to leave the line weight as default for now. So there I have it. These are my various layers that will help organize my drawing when that time comes, especially for the complicated drawings. Okay, so to the top left there's this X where we can close this window, the layers would automatically save. So on the home tab, layers panel, to the top we're going to see this little box here with the default layer. So remember the name of the default layer was 0. So there we have it. So right to the end, the right side, sorry, we will see this arrow, and this arrow would allow us to switch between our layers while drawing. Right? So remember our border, the line weight was set at 0.6 millimeters, and our object line, the line weight was set as 0.3 millimeters. Right? So one important thing before we move on, we would like to see our colors and line weights reflected in our drawings. So let's just make sure that we have that. So first we're going to do a construction line, and I'm just going to draw a random line, any measurement, any length, no particular length, sorry. And then I'm going to do the border, no particular length, and then I'm going to do object, no particular length.